Welcome to Matt Drive Stuff. Today we're in a 1996 Toyota Supra. It's the naturally aspirated version. It's a 2+2 seat coupe, which means we've got 2 seats in the front, obviously, plus 2 seats in the back. Now, I'm 6'2", so I've got the seat fairly far back, and I can only just fit my hand between the back seats and the back of the chair, so the only thing they're practical for is storing rubbish. This car's done about 118,000 Ks. It doesn't get driven too much anymore. The owner of this car has gotten into bikes, and I'll definitely be taking their bikes out sometime soon. They're pretty cool interiors. They're all kind of driver centric. Everything's, facing towards the driver. As you can see, it's pretty rad. The gear shift is in a great spot. The handbrake's nice and close, so you can do some drifting when the time strikes you. The interior of this version is a little bit worse for wear. There's a little bit of plastic coming out here. The steering wheel's a bit munted. We're missing some dials. I'm actually kind of surprised to see a interior look like it's in this state. Let's have a look outside, because I think the outsides of these things are pretty cool. It's pretty low, but and it's got pretty wide door sills, but it's not too hard to get into this thing. It's pretty good. It's a 3-litre inline 6-cylinder up front, driving the rear wheels, putting out 164 kilowatts, and I think it's 280 newton meters of torque. These ones weigh in at 1,460 odd kilos. The turbo versions are 90 kilos heavier. Anyway, the important thing is, what's it like to drive? Well, let's find out. There's nothing tricky to turn on one of these cars. It's really straightforward. It's key in and turn. You don't have to worry about putting your foot on the clutch or having it in neutral or whatever. It's fine. Anyway, there's a few aftermarket parts on this car. The steering wheel, the wheels. You might have seen outside, there's some really nice BBS rims. We've got an aftermarket speedo which goes up to 320 k's an hour, which is necessary. You've got aftermarket pedals on here as well, and they don't have too much traction on rubber soles when it's wet, so we'll try not to slip off it today. You also might hear that rattling a little bit. I'm not quite sure what that's from. It's something in the steering column. There's 51% of the weight's over the front wheels, 49's out the back, so it's pretty well balanced. The clutch is fairly soft. The gear shift, it's firm, but it's not clunky. It's a short shift as you get into sportier cars, but you don't get tripped up by it at all. The accelerator is fairly soft. The steering's light. Balancing the clutch is easy. Going over bumps, this one's a little bit loud, I'm feeling. It's not rough over bumps. You hear them more than you feel them, but it's actually surprisingly a little bit loud in here. Also, the auto cancel on the indicators buggered itself up as well. All right, let's take off. With 164 kilowatts and only weighing 1,460 kilos, I expected it to be a little bit more brutal on the launch. I think there's a big difference between 164 kilowatts and say 210, like I had in the Infiniti 350 GT the other week. The twin turbo puts out 206 kilowatts, and it weighs about the same as the Infiniti, so I think that'd be a pretty rad car to drive. The twin turbos on that car as well work in a really cool way. These cars at the moment, the naturally aspirated versions, they're around $9,000, I think it is. The twin turbos are much more expensive than that. I think they're closer to 20,000. I find inline sixes to be a bit lazy. They don't have much urgency about them. This one redlines just under 7,000 RPM. So you do hit that red line quickly, but it's just doesn't feel like it. I think this car would be better if it had a V6 in it actually, or if it was the twin turbo version. It just feels planted. It's pretty damp outside and it still feels really planted. And you turn the steering wheel and it just heads in that direction. It's great. I think it's a shame that Toyota haven't made any more Supras after this. You might have noticed that this has a tinted rear windscreen. It does make it a little bit tricky to see out the back. This car's great though, it's comfy. It can go a bit harder when you want it to. It could go harder, but it's not the kind of thing that you're just going to lose control of, I think. And they're cheap. Plus they're a Toyota, so they're built properly too. I mean, you know, Toyota's fantastic on their reliability as well, and I don't see why this would be any different. The owner of this car has never had any particular, problems with it, just regular service. I mean, the inside of it does look a little bit worse for wear. I don't know if all Supras from that era or all Toyotas from that era have the same kind of issues on the inside. I mean, I've seen other cars that are the same age of this, plenty more Ks on it, and the interiors have lasted a lot better. If you've got the money to spare and you're thinking about buying one of these, I say go the twin turbo. It does feel like it's a little bit under power. If you're just learning to drive though and you're considering one of these, go the naturally aspirated version, because I don't want you to kill yourself. I'd like to be able to give you some insight on fuel efficiency and servicing costs and stuff like that. Unfortunately, the people I tend to get cars off don't pay too much attention to that, so sorry about that. It's a Toyota though, so I wouldn't imagine servicing costs to be too much. It's a 3-litre inline six, so I expect fuel bills to be a little bit higher than your hatchback. This is a pretty great car actually. I mean, the trim's a little bit rubbish. The naturally aspirated version is a bit under power. It feels like things are starting to get, a bit old in this one. But the rest of the setup's quite good. I think if you're going to go for one of these, you want to go for the twin turbo version. If you can get one of them in good condition, I think you'd be very happy with it. Anyway guys, as usual, make sure you like the video, leave a comment, let me know what your thoughts on the Toyota Supra are. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Have you driven one? Have you owned one? Let me know your experiences. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Next car that we're going to be driving is it's a Mazda 2. It's bright green and it looks like a pea. So stay tuned for that. It's actually going to be pretty fun. I'll catch you guys later. See ya.